Imagine this. You're a parent. Your kid's away at college, working hard, doing all the right things. And then one day, you get that call.
Oh.
The one every parent dreads.
Yeah.
Your child has gone a victim of a senseless act of violence.
All right.
That's the nightmare Cody Woodson's family is living with. He was just 20 years old, shot 10 times, just steps from his apartment.
It's a chilling case made even more disturbing by the lack of any clear motive.
Right.
No robbery, no obvious enemies, just brutal, targeted violence.
Yeah.
It really throws a wrench in the usual assumptions about these kinds of crimes.
Exactly. And it's that lack of a motive that makes it so unsettling, especially for anyone who's ever sent a child off to college hoping they're safe.
Right.
So let's dive into what we know about Cody's last day.
Okay.
It started, ordinarily, he and his girlfriend went to pick up his cat, then hung out back at his apartment in Richmond.
And that's where the normalcy ends.
Okay.
His girlfriend leaves. He steps out to take out the trash and grab some tea.
Just an everyday errand.
Yeah. Just an everyday errand.
But he never makes it back.
Never makes it back.
It's terrifying how quickly life can turn upside down like that.
It is.
And to make matters worse, the initial investigation hit a wall.
Really?
No witnesses, no usable security footage of the shooting itself.
Right. And despite talking to his family and friends,
Yeah.
no one could pinpoint a reason why anyone would want to hurt Cody.
So he was a good kid.
He was, by all accounts, a good kid working his way through college. Well-liked, no trouble with the law.
So naturally, the investigators start looking into every possibility.
Of course.
They even considered whether Cody might have had a secret life,
Uh-huh.
some hidden involvement that could explain the attack.
That double life angle is often explored in cases like this.
Right.
Where the motive is unclear.
Yeah.
It's the idea that the victim was involved in something risky or illegal that their loved ones knew nothing about.
Makes sense, grasping at straws when there's seemingly nothing to go on.
Right.
But in Cody's case, there was zero evidence to support that theory.
None whatsoever.
Okay, so then what?
And then there's another layer to this case that makes it even more complex.
Yeah.
This wasn't the only shooting on that block in a 24-hour period.
What?
The day before, a 17-year-old Tony was shot and killed just a few yards from where Cody would later be murdered.
Hold on, 2 shootings on the same block within a day of each other.
Yeah.
That's got to be more than just a coincidence.
It certainly makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It does.
But here's the thing. The police determined that Tony's shooting was self-defense during a robbery gone wrong.
Oh, okay.
So not a serial killer or anything like that.
Right.
But still incredibly unsettling for the neighborhood.
Okay, so 2 separate incidents, but tragically linked by location and timing.
Exactly.
Did they think maybe there was some connection between the two beyond just proximity?
That's where things take a fascinating turn.
Okay.
A theory emerged that could connect the 2 shootings.
Right.
Mistaken identity.
Mistaken identity.
A man came forward suggesting Cody might have been mistaken for someone else entirely.
Who for and why? Now I'm really intrigued.
The theory points to the roommate of the man who shot Tony in self-defense.
Okay.
Apparently, some of Tony's friends and family saw the roommate at the scene and might have been looking for revenge.
So in their grief and anger, they could have targeted the wrong person.
Exactly. A case of vengeance gone tragically wrong.
Oh, wow.
And what's even more compelling is that according to the source material, Cody actually bore a resemblance to the roommate.
So not only were the shootings close together, but there is a potential link through this mistaken identity theory and a physical resemblance. That's a lot of coincidences piling up.
It is.
But is there anything more concrete to support this theory?
There are a few pieces of evidence that align with this idea.
Okay.
For instance, security footage shows the shooter taking the same route to and from the scene, which could indicate they weren't familiar with the area.
Right. If they knew the neighborhood, they might have taken a shortcut or back alley to get away.
Exactly.
Instead, they came in and went out the same way, which could point to them being from out of town, just there for the attack. What else?
Well, there's the sheer intensity of the attack on Cody. 10 shots fired. That level of violence often suggests something deeply personal, like anger and a desire for revenge, rather than just a random act.
It does seem like the pieces fit together, but it's all still circumstantial at this point.
Right.
So where does the investigation go from here?
Well, Detective Higgins, the lead on the case, believes that Matthew, the roommate, is the most likely perpetrator.
Right.
However, Matthew is out of state, which complicates things significantly.
Of course, interstate investigations always add another layer of complexity.
Right.
What kind of challenges does that create for law enforcement?
Well, it's not as simple as just driving across state lines and picking someone up.
Yeah.
There are jurisdictional issues, warrants, extradition processes.
Oh,
It can
really?
really bog things down. And if the suspect is actively trying to avoid detection, it becomes even more difficult.
It's frustrating to think that Cody's killer could be out there,
Yeah.
potentially living a normal life while his family is still in agony waiting for answers.
It is.
Are there any other leads the police are pursuing?
Higgins also wants to talk to Tony's brothers,
All right.
who have also left the state.
So they're out of state, too.
He believes they could have information that might shed light on what happened, especially if they were involved in seeking revenge for Tony's death.
So there are potentially key witnesses out there, but getting to them is a real hurdle.
Yeah.
It must be incredibly difficult for Cody's family knowing that these potential leads exist,
Right.
but are so hard to reach.
Absolutely. And their pain is compounded by the fact that despite all the efforts to find Cody's killer, the case remains unsolved.
Still unsolved.
There's been a GoFundMe to help with expenses, a scholarship set up in his name, even a billboard pleading for information.
Yeah.
Yet no one has been brought to justice.
It's heartbreaking to see a family so dedicated to keeping their son's memory alive while also desperately seeking closure.
Mm-hmm.
From what we know, Cody was clearly a bright light in their lives and in the lives of many others.
That's what makes this case even more tragic.
Yeah.
He was a young man with so much potential taken away in such a senseless act.
Right.
His mother talked about how she always instilled in her children the importance of leaving a good name behind.
And it sounds like he did.
And by all accounts, Cody did just that.
It's clear he had a positive impact on everyone he met, from his family and friends to his classmates and professors.
Yeah.
And that outpouring of support after his death speaks volumes about the kind of person he was.
It's a testament to his character, and it makes the lack of answers even more unbearable.
Right.
But even with the challenges, Detective Higgins isn't giving up.
Really?
He's still actively working on the case, trying to track down Matthew and speak to Tony's brothers.
Okay.
He believes they hold crucial information that could finally lead to an arrest.
That dedication is remarkable.
It is.
To continue pursuing a case like this, even after 2 years, it really speaks to his commitment to finding justice for Cody.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so crucial for anyone who might know something, even the smallest detail, to come forward.
Right.
You never know what piece of information could be the missing link that cracks the case wide open.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's that one seemingly insignificant detail that connects the dots and leads to a breakthrough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts on this, knowing what we know about the case?
Well,
Do you think they'll ever be able to bring Cody's killer to justice?
it's tough to say for sure.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years and the trail has gone cold in some respects.
Right.
But Detective Higgins seems incredibly determined. And sometimes all it takes is one lucky break, one new piece of information to turn everything around.
That's true. And the fact that Cody's story has resonated with so many people offers a glimmer of hope.
Right.
Maybe someone out there knows something that could finally bring his family some peace.
I sincerely hope so. This case is a stark reminder that even the most ordinary day can be shattered in an instant,
It really is.
and that even seemingly random acts of violence can leave devastating consequences.
It's a harsh reality check for all of us.
It is.
We go about our lives feeling relatively safe, and then something like this happens, and it shakes you to the core.
Absolutely.
What stands out to you about this case,
Well,
looking at it from a broader perspective?
what strikes me is the apparent randomness of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Cody was just going about his day, completely unaware that he was in danger. He was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, mistaken for someone else, and brutally murdered.
Yeah.
It really makes you question the notion of safe spaces.
You're right. We think we're safe in our neighborhoods running errands, going to school. But this case shows us that tragedy can strike anywhere and any time.
Yeah.
It's a chilling thought.
And yet, amidst this tragedy, we see the incredible strength of community.
Right.
Cody's friends, family, and even complete strangers came together to honor his memory, to support his family, and to demand justice.
Yeah.
They raised funds, established a scholarship, and kept his story alive, refusing to let him be forgotten.
It's inspiring to see how people unite in the face of such senseless loss.
It
It
is.
shows that even in the darkest of times, there's still compassion, hope, and a fierce determination to fight for what's right.
Absolutely. But this case also forces us to confront the frustrating reality that sometimes justice is elusive.
Right.
Despite the best efforts of law enforcement and the community, Cody's killer remains at large.
It's a painful reminder that some wounds may never fully heal.
Yeah.
That some questions may remain unanswered.
Right.
It's especially difficult to accept when a young life is cut short, a life full of promise and potential.
And it makes us question what true justice really means.
Yeah.
Is it simply apprehending the perpetrator and punishing them? Or does it also involve addressing the underlying issues that contribute to violence, to poverty, to lack of opportunity, issues that can create a breeding ground for desperation and despair?
That's a profound question, and one that goes far beyond this particular case.
It is.
It's a societal issue that we need to grapple with.
Right.
This case is a microcosm of those larger issues.
So we're left with more questions than answers.
Right.
But maybe that's the point.
Okay.
Maybe this isn't meant to be neatly resolved.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's meant to spark a dialogue, to encourage deeper introspection, to inspire us to work towards a safer, more just world for everyone.
We started this deep dive with the tragic story of Cody Woodson, a young man whose life was cut short in a seemingly random act of violence. But as we've explored the details and the broader implications of this case, it's become clear that there's much more to consider.
A lot more.
It's a story about the fragility of life, the complexities of the justice system, and the enduring strength of community.
And as we conclude, we invite you, the listener, to reflect on this case and its broader implications.
Yes.
What resonated with you? What questions linger in your mind?
Right.
We encourage you to share your thoughts on our social media channels and continue the conversation.
If you have any information that could help bring Cody's killer to justice, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, please contact the authorities.
Please do.
Even the smallest detail could make a world of difference.
Cody's story is a tragic reminder that life is precious and can be taken away from us in an instant.
It is.
Let's honor his memory by cherishing our loved ones, by standing up for what's right, and by working towards a world where violence and injustice no longer hold sway.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Cody Woodson case. We'll continue to follow any developments and keep you updated. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss our future episodes, where we'll delve into more compelling stories and explore the intricacies of the human experience. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.